it can get scary fast when you get some people that are just so easily manipulated, right? And that's something, but both sides are so easily manipulated, right? That it can turn it's the fascism works on both sides because it's like you're calling this person a fascist, but you're just as quick to turn on your neighbor. Same thing. You would do the same thing for your beliefs that they would do for theirs. So you're in the same boat. All right, guys, it's time for another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast. Super excited for this one. We're asking AI a great question. We have a lot of fun, and we get down to the nitty-gritty on why the election is the worst. Stick around and enjoy the show. It might be election day, but every day is erection day with Blue Chew.
Is the system great? No. Is it all we got? Yeah.
And that's just what politics is. It's something that I don't want to deal with, and it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I cannot name for you one time that a politician has affected my life.
And here's the funny thing. Less than half of the people in this country who are eligible to vote are going to vote today.
That's the nutshell right there. Like, one's not going to protect us, and one's going to take all our money and give it to the rich.
But I don't think anybody, do you know anybody who legitimately wants to see this country burn down and fall apart? I don't.
We do live in the greatest country in the world, and there's no second. We're number one, and there's not even close, right? Like, this is the greatest country in the world for a reason, right? Maybe we're not the best country that it could be. We're not at our best, no, but we're still the best in the world. So I asked AI, I said, hello AI, do you know who you would vote for? And they said, hello and welcome to the Working Perspectives Podcast presents Ask AI. I'm Matt Lavelle, accompanied by the one and only Bern Podcasy. On this show, we'll be asking AI the hard-hitting questions and seeing if AI truly has all the answers. There's no question too crazy, no inquiry too outrageous, and no query too queer. AI may have all the answers, but we're here to prove that you can't have great answers without great questions. If you'd like to send us some questions to Ask AI, please comment on this video or message us on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. Also, please remember to check out all our shows airing Tuesdays at 5 a.m. and Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Tonight's question is, hey AI, why do elections suck so much? Enjoy the show. Why are elections the worst? Nuts on the chin of that intro. Oh. How was that? Pretty good?
That was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
I always dreamed of dream of time gone by. Obviously. Who hasn't? Yellow.
Sure.
But I always dreamed that I could have the voice that's like, the voice that someone hears someday is like, you're a star. You're a star. You're a star. We need to get you on stage for the whole world to see. And I'll tell you, still hasn't happened, and I'm still waiting, Still waiting.
Well, you keep showing that kind of vocal range on these internets here, and I feel like someone's going to come banging down your door any day now. Because that was beautiful.
Mean it, Daddy?
I sure do.
Thanks, Dad. So, okay, Bern, we got some stuff to talk about today, and I'm kind of excited to talk about it. And I love our new Ask AI gimmick. So, for those returning listeners who didn't know the news, we got rid of the gimmicks. That is all for the Gimmick Show, which airs Fridays at 10 a.m. on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. The Gimmick Show is where we'll have, we'll have the fun fact, we'll have the joke, we'll have maybe, some quick cash, maybe on this day, soup talk, annoying news, all that kind of stuff. Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Check it out. It's there. We have episodes available now. Honestly, a lot of fun. People really liked it. Got a lot of heat from that show. Really good. But this show, we're strictly asking AI because we want to get to know AI. And so we're asking AI today, hello AI, why do elections suck so much? Why do they suck so much? Bern, your thoughts.
All right. So obviously today, this show's premiering on election day. It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Happens really every year, but the presidential election is every 4 years, and that's the big election cycle everybody gets all juiced up over. And it's just the absolute worst. It's just the worst, from the amount of money involved to the amount of reach out to the amount of times a day my phone buzzes from someone asking me for money. I'm getting letters in the mail. I'm getting emails. There's a lot of reasons why elections suck. And I think we share the same sentiment where no matter what happens tonight, a lot of people are just going to be relieved tomorrow morning that this whole thing is over.
That it's over.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. You know what I mean? We live in a representative democracy. Like, elections should be something we're excited about. They should be something we want to participate in. But the way the whole system works, I feel like it just sucks the absolute life out of us.
Dude, it also so divided, right? There's never more division in this country than election time, right? Like, it is so awful. Awful. Anything you do, everywhere you go, it's every sign in every yard is F this guy, vote for this guy, right? And then I would, what would really win a guy or whoever would win a person the presidency, if when they put out a slander ad, if they put, look, we're going to use this time to tell you something and not slander, right? We're letting you know this is an ad, and we're gonna, what we're gonna do? We're gonna pay for this. We're gonna cut it short. We're gonna pay for the full thing, cut it short, so you got a shortened ad, and we're not gonna say any bullshit. That's our ad. Vote for us. Boom. That's the win right there, Daddy.
Wouldn't that be something, man? Wouldn't that be great? Or
that's the win.
You know what would be
nice? I would
nice?
vote for that person. Yeah, I don't vote, and I would vote for that person.
You know what would be nice? What if they made a rule, like, if you're going to do political ads, you're not allowed to mention the other person, right? You're only allowed to say what you would do and what your plan is.
Yeah.
And that's it. No mention of anybody else. Like, just, here's my deal.
It's all scare tactics, and that's all it is. Any slander against Kamala is, God, I don't even want to say her name because we get slashed in the algorithm. You know what I mean? But any slander against Kamala, it's always about oh, she let these people over the border and she doesn't want to protect us and blah blah blah. And then anything about Trump, and I don't even want to say his name because then we'll definitely get punched in the algorithm. But anything about Trump is something like he's gonna let rich people get away with everything and the poor are gonna suffer, right? That's the nutshell right there. One's not gonna protect us and one's gonna take all our money and give it to the rich.
And here's the wild thing too, is that both of these parties have essentially been running the same political ads, just changed the name for the last 40 years. It's the same story over and over and over again.
Yep.
It's exhausting. So one of the reasons why elections suck is because we've seen it's the same playbook every time. It's boring. It's not creative. I don't think any of us look at any of these ads and are like, oh, that's an honest estimation of who this person is and who this person is. So it's like all of this money is spent on the exact same nonsense over and over and over and over again. I'm 42, and like I've only been paying attention to this stuff for 20-ish years, like since I could vote, and I am fucking exhausted by it. My
Dude,
my kid
totally.
is 7, and he has political opinions based on the ads that are just pumping
Uh,
through YouTube and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They'll be
that
like,
annoys me to no end. Dude, honestly, I'll tell you what, his opinion is probably of the same caliber of relevancy as 90% of the people voting.
yeah, because he takes the ads at face value. He thinks if somebody says this person is bad, then they're bad because he saw it on
Right,
TV. And it was
right.
funny. Um, like my brother was visiting my mom. My brother lives in Philly. My mom lives in Wilkes-Barre in Luzerne County, which is like a really hotly contested county. And my brother
Yeah,
was like, I live in Pennsylvania, which is a hotly contested state. He's like, I can't
big time.
believe the amount of like the how much more political ads there were at mom's house than there are in Philadelphia. Like watching a football game
Really?
and here's a commercial, and all four commercials are going to be about national politics, local politics, and then maybe someone tries to sell you a beer, and then the game's back on. But like, it's just there's nowhere you can't escape it, man. There's nowhere to get away from
Oh,
it.
it's so awful. It's the worst. The worst. My God, it's
And, and here's the funny thing: less than half of the people in this country who are eligible to vote are going to vote today. Like less than half.
less than half.
Less than half. I don't think we've had 50% election turnout in like 80 years. So like what why are we doing
That's
this?
bullshit.
It doesn't work. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. I could see if 80% of the electorate was ready to vote and this is how you got them motivated to do it, but I think this kind of stuff turns more people off than it does turn people off to the
Agreed.
voting
I
process.
don't, dude, I don't vote, and it's this type of shit is the reason why, right? Well, one, I wasn't allowed to vote for a long time, but that's another story. But there was like this whole I'm not about like it's all BS to me, right? Like I don't have enough political knowledge to think like to have a valued opinion, and I don't want to vote for something that I truly don't know a lot about. But also, I'm so turned off to a politics because of the people who talk about politics. Like we did a show previously, we asked AI why politics sucks. And it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it has to do with like know-it-alls and people who are argumentative and annoying. And it's just like, guy, stop trying to shove your opinion down my throat and we'll be cool. But otherwise, I don't want to fucking deal with you. And that's just what politics is. It's something that I don't want to deal with. And it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I cannot name for you one time that a politician has affected my life.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing, right? I mean, you look at how much money there is in politics, and anybody who's on a national stage is bought and paid for by someone, right? And it's not me.
Totally.
It's not me.
No.
So, yeah, I think most Americans, a lot of Americans feel like, what's it like? What's going to change for me, regardless of who wins the presidential election? Like, what's going to change for me? The rich will still get richer. The poor will still stay poor, and
Yeah.
like my life is not going to change all that much.
Yeah.
And maybe that's true for a lot of people, and maybe it's not. But the point is, uh, our system is dumb. It pushes people away from wanting to vote. And like I said, you and me, we live in Pennsylvania, man. Like it's nonstop. I bet there's a solid percentage of people who had totally planned to vote 6 months ago, and at this point are now
Yeah.
just like, I don't care. I just want it to be over.
Yeah.
That's not a good system.
Yeah.
It's not a good system.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not informative. It's all that he or she and like people picks. Oh God, it's just so brutal to watch. Like, I used to really love Weekend Update, right? There's like parts of Weekend Update that I fucking adore and think it's so funny and so clever. But it's just now it's just like, okay, like, dude, it's got to go both ways. You know what I mean? Like you're saying there's nothing funny about Kamala Harris's campaign. There's no jokes to be made about that, right? Like
Right.
nothing, right? Like even if you support him, you still have to like I don't know. So I don't like that it's super biased and whatever. And you can have your opinion. And I think there's a lot of people who are like, this is not Third Reich Nazi bullshit. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. But I do know this is that it can get scary fast when you get some people that are just so easily manipulated, right? And that's something, but both sides are so easily manipulated, right? That it can turn it's the fascism works on both sides because it's like you're calling this person a fascist, but you're just as quick to turn on your neighbor. Same thing. You would do the same thing for your beliefs that they would do for theirs. So you're in the same boat, right? You would turn me in, like if you wanted to, if it helped you get political gain or something. Like that's something that when I talked to my in-laws when they lived in Albania, that really scared me is that when they were under the communist regime, imagine if you had a neighbor you didn't like or you wanted their apartment or something like that and you could spread the news that they were spreading propaganda, they would
Mhm.
be gone the next day. The next day.
That's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Terrifying. That's terrifying. That's terror, right? So we can't, if we get to something like that, that's where it's like, okay, Jesus Christ. But we were on like the cancel culture, we were on that kind of sphere of where you're pointing the finger and burning this guy for nothing. And sometimes it was something, sometimes it was nothing, right? But but that's like the kind of thing where I get afraid of like, when is it that someone's gonna make some up bullshit to help themselves? Like, cause that's happened too, you know? I don't
100%,
know.
man. And like that gets scarier because like I mean, I always say this, like the difference between like Democrats and Republicans should be like what do we spend the tax money on? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what it should be. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be that if this party wins, America is going to be destroyed, and if this party wins, then there will be no more values, and there'll be no like
Yeah.
uh, for the most part, the conversation should be like, okay, what do we spend it on? You guys want to spend it on roads? We want to spend it on schools. You want to spend it on this? Like
Right.
that should be the conversation we're having. I don't think either
Yeah.
party is detrimental to America. No, no one who lives in America wants to see America fail. Like that's just
Yeah.
silly. It's just a silly idea that anybody who lives in this country wants to see this country become a shitty place or wants to see this country fail. People have different ideas about what it means for it to
Yeah.
prosper, but I don't think anybody. I mean, do you know
Yeah.
anybody who legitimately like wants to see this country burn down and fall apart? I don't.
No. I will say this too. Like I've been to other countries. We do live in the greatest country in the world. And there's no second. We're number one and there's not even close, right? Like this is the greatest country in the world for a reason, right? We're not the best country that it could be. We're not at our best, no, but we're still the best in the world, right?
Yeah,
So there's something to be said about that. So instead of complaining and not doing anything, right? Like you have your complaints, but you're not doing anything about it, right? You think your vote is doing something, it's not. All right. If you have these real complaints, then why don't you try doing something about it and taking an action? I don't complain because guess what? I don't have an answer, but I know that a vote isn't an answer, right?
yeah. And listen, I hear where you're coming from. I know a lot of people who feel that way. I will always vote just because I know my feeling is that is the system great? No. Is it all we got? Yeah. So like I might as well participate in what we got, even if it's not
Yeah.
ideal. But as a guy
Yeah.
who like follows politics a little more closely maybe than you do, and a guy who always votes,
Totally.
I cannot wait for tomorrow. I cannot wait to wake up tomorrow and not get a text message on my phone
Yeah.
asking me for a
Same.
500 time match of my just $11. You can like and here's the thing I've never donated to a political party. So I don't know
Nope.
why they keep thinking that I'm going to. Like,
Right.
I've blocked
What
the
makes you
numbers.
believe? Yeah.
It's never ending, and I think there's a real fatigue happening. And the other thing too is now we have like early voting and mail-in voting, and it's going to suck because there's a good chance that tomorrow we don't actually know,
No.
and then
We're definitely not going to know.
whoever loses is going to go to court in 5 or 6 states. And, like, this thing
Yeah.
is just gonna drag and drag, but at least hopefully by tomorrow they'll stop peppering me for money about it. Knock on
Yeah.
wood.
Yeah. Yeah. Not yeah. Agreed. I cannot wait to not see the stupid ads. You know what I would love, right? If a guy if a presidential candidate came up and said, "You know what we're going to do? I'm going to give you an itemized receipt of where your taxes go." Right?
Even imagine?
Great.
Oh my
Oh, wouldn't
god.
that be nice? Oh, would love it. Cool. Cool. Thank you. Thank you for knowing what I'm paying for. And then maybe next time be like, hey, here's an option. Since you have an itemized receipt of what you paid for, how about some suggestions of where you would like it to go if you want to fill that out too? Or where do you think we need the spending, right? Or where you'd like to send your money, that your hard earned money that you're giving to the government. You know what I mean? Right? Like
Shoot
there's
that.
is that you think
Sorry, go
you
ahead.
like you pay something, you always get a receipt, right? They want us to keep receipts on the shit we're doing, right? I would love an itemized receipt of where my taxes go. If a candidate would provide that, I would vote for them right now.
If there were two candidates running and they both provided me with their particular receipt for where my taxes would go, I wouldn't even look to see who was a Democrat or a Republican. I wouldn't care at all about their
Correct.
political party. I would
Yes.
just look at the
Yeah.
numbers and go, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's a good point. That's a good point. Let me tally them up. I like 7 over here. I like 6 over here. Guess I'm voting for 7. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
brilliant idea, man.
And
Brilliant idea.
if they had if their ad was we're going to buy a 30-second ad and we're only going to air 15 seconds of it to let you know that this is my name, this is my party. There you go. And we won't bother you with anything else. Just know like you had a 30-second ad, we paid for it to be a 15-second ad. This is who I am. This is my thing. Go ahead. Enjoy your
Go
thing.
on with your day. Go on with your day.
Go on. I'll tell you, that person's winning any election. Okay? Because they're efficient. They're smart. They understand the people. The people don't want the bullshit. They don't want the fear mongering. They don't want the hate. Right? The people, you know what? The less, like, you know how you said it was like less than 50% of the population that can vote votes? Right?
Yeah.
You don't know why? Because of bullshit like that. Because I don't buy it. But if they came to me with that stuff, guess what? They're getting that extra 50 or whoever that don't feel like voting to vote.
Even if they get 15% of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's still a majority now.
that's
It's a majority now.
that's your win. That's your win. That's you winning the election right there. You know? If you can pull the people that don't want to vote, that's how you do it. You be practical. You be smart. But Bern, we've yacked enough. Why don't we ask old Alan? All right?
Okay. Let's see what Allen
So we
Iverson has
got
to
some
say.
gimmick here. So first thing I asked, I said, hello, AI. Said, please, can you please tell me why elections suck so much? And they said, I cannot help you with that right now. I am trained to be as accurate as possible, but I can make mistakes sometimes. While I work on perfecting, how can I discuss elections and politics? You can try Google search. I then said, hello, AI. Are you able to vote? They said, hello. As an AI, I'm not able to vote. Voting is a right reserved for human citizens who meet criteria such as age and residency requirements.
Okay.
Human citizens. Should I ask AI what country they're a citizen of?
Sure. Let's find out how AI identifies.
So I said, hello, AI, what country are you a citizen of? They said, that's an interesting question. While I can access and process information from around the world, I don't have a physical body or citizenship. I exist digitally within Google's data centers. You could say they're a citizen of the internet. Wow. It literally says they're a citizen of the internet. Wow.
That's the wild, wild west, my
Burn.
man. That's the wild, wild west. Nothing governs that. That'd be
And
a
they're
scary place
literally
to
Doc
be,
Holiday right now.
right?
Yeah.
They're
I mean, should
quite
I?
a they're quite a hucklebearer if I don't do say so myself.
So I asked AI, I said, "Hello, AI, do you know who you would vote for?" And they said, "That's a fun thought experiment." But it says, "Since I can't vote, I don't have political opinions or biases." It says, "However, I can access and process information about all the candidates and their platforms. If I could vote, I would analyze their stances in various issues, their proposed policies, and their track records to make an informed decision. It's important for everyone to be well informed when they vote, so I encourage you to do your own research on the candidates and their positions." Okay, so basically, Then asked AI this. We said, "Hello, AI. Can you please tell me how we can make the voting process move faster so we don't have to wait so long and keep dealing with these terrible ads and solicitations?" And they said this. They said, "It's true. Long wait times and the barrage of campaign ads and solicitations can be frustrating." It says, "Here are a few ideas on how to make the voting process move faster and more pleasant." It says, "Modernize registration and voting systems. Online voter registration. Make it easy and eligible for citizens to register online, update their information, and check the registration status. This reduces paperwork and lines at polling places." I think they do that, don't they?
Some states, some states do. Some states make it's easier to vote in some states than others.
Okay. And it also says automatic voter registration. It says implement automatic registration programs that register eligible citizens to vote when they interact with government agencies, like at the DMV or whatever, right? When you go there, it's like, "Hey, if you want to sign up to vote, you can do it right here, blah blah blah," right?
Listen,
That's
man,
actually not a bad idea.
there's a lot of countries that when you turn whatever the voting age is, you're just automatically registered. Like so, it'd be like the United States. Like there's a lot of countries that do that. Where if the U.S. as soon as you turned 18, they would just automatically register your vote. You don't have to vote if you don't want to, but you're automatically eligible. So it's like it cuts out one whole
That's so you have like a
department of paperwork.
voter ID as soon as you turn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. As soon as you
that's a
turn
great
eligible,
idea. Like, as soon as you get your ID, like if you got your ID at the DMV, they'd be like, "Okay, also here's your voting license. We're doing it all at once." That's actually a really good idea.
or it could just say on your license like eligible, get your license at 16, say eligible to vote starting, whatever the date is you
Blah blah
turn
blah.
18, and then
Yeah,
you're in, done.
bro. And like your ID number could be your voter registration thing. Like it
Yep.
could all. That's a great idea. Wow. It also says this: it should expand early voting, offer more early voting options with extended hours and more locations. This spreads out voter traffic and reduces congestion on election day. It also says explore alternative voting methods. Consider options like vote by mail, ranked choice voting, and secure online voting to increase accessibility and efficiency. I mean, the other thing is too, it's like I don't know. I feel like from now on, whoever loses is gonna say it was rigged, it's this, it's that, it's they stole this or they lied about these numbers and this state and blah blah, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Ranked choice voting is really interesting. It's
What is
like
that?
so it's how we used to vote for the president in back in the day. Like, well, not necessarily, but like the first president, like George Washington won, so he was the president, and then whoever finished second was the vice president. Regardless of political party or whatever.
Oh.
But ranked choice voting is just like if there's it's like how you vote for like an MVP ballot, right? So if there's four people running
Yeah.
for an office, you go, okay, well, I like this person the most. This person would be my number
Yeah.
two. This person would be my three. This person would be my four. And then when they tally it up, it's like, okay, number ones are worth a certain amount. Number twos are worth, you know what I mean? And it's just like, so you're not just
Dude,
saying one
that's
or the
actually a
other.
great idea.
Yeah, you're just listing like
R-
in order of people I
But
like. It'd be
but also that means that like but there's more representatives in like then like you don't lose your representatives. So say for instance like if Trump wins and Kamala Harris gets second, he's the president, she's the VP,
Mhm.
but he has final say. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like his vote, like he gets to put it over the line. I like that.
it forces people to know they're going to have to work together in some way, shape, or form. So maybe it
Right.
prevents them from totally shitting on each other throughout the entire process.
Right.
And
Also, like, it makes it so they have to listen and work together and find compromise, right?
isn't that a wild idea?
Right. But that's like, I mean, that's the one thing I think we're missing is the compromise, right? It's like, why
100%.
not compromise? Meet in the middle, guys. You both, dude, I'm not, that's the one thing I don't get is both sides have great ideas about stuff, right? And like, but one side is hard on this and one side's hard on this. It's like, guys, you can meet in the middle, you know? Why don't we ever meet in the middle or compromise and do like, okay, we do a little bit of this and a little bit of this, right? Like, and see which one works better, you know? Because we don't know. Maybe one thing works better, but they might work like maybe you can take some of this and you can have some of this. And like it makes it so like you don't have to pick sides. You can believe like, okay, I like this and this. So that doesn't mean I'm this or this. It means I like this, right? You know, that I really like that idea, you know?
All of these things, right? With expanding early voting, with automatic registration, with changing the way we do it, like I think all of those things would encourage more people to like give a shit. And then the more people who give a shit, the more accountable the candidates actually have to be to like do what they say they're going to do. We know all these candidates are out there talking about all the things they're going to do. Neither one of them are going to do half of that shit if they win because
Yeah.
there's just not
Yeah.
enough time. I mean, they say every president really gets like one major piece of legislation through in a term. Like that's they get one big
Yeah.
thing through, and like that's kind of how it works. So,
Yeah.
but if there's more people paying attention and more people giving a shit, then they're going to be more beholden to follow through with the shit they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
That's not a bad
Agreed.
thing.
No. No, make them put their money where their mouth is and not make this fear mongering, hate, you know, scare tactic BS, you know?
Right.
I'm
One side
could
will
not
save the
agree more,
country,
dude.
and the other side will burn it down. Like that's not ever going to be
Right.
true. It's not ever going to be
No,
true.
it's not. And you should learn compromise. That's this whole country is founded on compromise. You know? Like we knew we didn't know anything. That's why we're out to amend our constitution. Like, come on, guys. Compromise here. So I don't know. But okay, we are coming towards the top of time, Bern. This has been a very intellectual discussion because we're two intellectual gentlemen and we're really smart. Like, really smart. I'm smart. Look at me, I'm smart.
I can do things.
But so I asked AI who they'd vote for. I asked all this stuff. They don't, or I asked them who they think is going to win the election. They can't answer. So, you know, AI's hands are tied. But Bern, before we get out of here, what do you got to say before we get the iffy out of here? You know, before we hit the
Listen,
old dusty trail, you know.
if you're going to vote today or you already did vote today, good for you. If you're not going to vote today and you have no plans of voting, we get it. It's exhausting. Let's just hope that whatever the results of this election are, we know them soon and we're not still here in a month bitching about getting text messages to donate $5. Because if that's the case, if it's
Bro.
December and I'm listening to this nonsense, I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna blow my top. So let's just hope. Let's
Yeah,
hope for a speedy resolution, everyone. No matter which way
totally.
it goes, let's just hope it's quick.
Yeah,
That's all I
for
got.
sure. You know, Bern, I'll tell you this. You know who's something or someone I would vote for?
Who, Matt?
Blue Chew. That's who I vote
Oh,
for. They're dependable. They're reliable. They do the job right. They make America great and hard. Blue
they
Chew.
have a Blue Chew has a hell of a platform, if you know what I'm saying. More boners, more better, more Blue Chew.
Blue Chew will definitely get you to the polls.
Ghetto.
Scadow. Yebo. You're
Perfect.
definitely voting blue with Blue Chew. Heyo.
Unless it turns red, and then go see a doctor.
Yeah. If it's still if it's red after 4 hours, you might want to go to the hospital. But
Check
yeah,
that out.
no, Blue Chew is who you can always vote on because they're here for you, and it's Blue Chew.
Listen, they make promises and they keep them. And for my money, That's all I can ask for in America.
We don't know who the winner of the 2024 election is, but we know who the winner of the 2024 erection is, and that's Blue Chew, Daddy. That's a promo, baby.
We'll hear from you soon, Blue Chew. Can't wait.
We don't get emotional on the show. We don't get sappy. We don't get on a soapbox. We learned that lesson the hard way when we got blacklisted back in 2021. We were doing the show back then because that's how long we've been doing this show. But I will say this. One thing that sucks is that this country is super divided right now, right? And the reason it's divided is because there's fear-mongering and hate and all this stuff being spread through the media, right?
Sure.
I would love if the media or people in general would work more on spreading knowledge and, knowledge and truth in a way that is easy to swallow, right? Like, I hate how everything's delivered, and it deters me from wanting to vote and wanting to be a part of my God-given right as an American, right? And they've done that. They've spoiled this for me and for millions of others out there. So if you're a person who wants to run for the presidency, think about how to do it in a way where you can engage the people who are just disgusted with the political sphere that is right now, right? And if you can do that, you can have my vote. But until then, I'm not going to vote because it's bullshit. All right? It's fear-mongering against hatred. Those are the two political parties, and I don't want to be in either. So the one political party I am a part of, though, that's Blue Chew, baby. Get your erections here and get them every day. It's Erection Day every day with Blue Chew. That's what we were looking for, baby.
We got there. You finally got there.
Yep. It might be election day, but every day is Erection Day with Blue Chew. God damn, I got it on that one, Daddy.
We got that one. That was perfect.
All right. Well, speaking of Erection Day, every day, this has been another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast presents Ask AI. In case you're wondering, you can find all our stuff and all our content on all podcast platforms and YouTube at Working Perspectives Podcast. You know us on Instagram at Working Perspectives Podcast. Join us on Twitter and TikTok at Working P Pod. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at workingperspectives@gmail.com. Please like and subscribe. We'll keep bringing you this sweet, sweet content. And remember, please copy and paste the message in the description of this episode. Send it over to Blue Chew. And we love you. And we cherish you and adore you. And you've got our vote because you're the best fans in the business. All right. Thanks. See ya. Thank you for watching another episode of the Working Perspectives Podcast presents Ask AI. We love you. We cherish you. We need you. Please like and subscribe. Save the show. We love you. Bye.